Hello everyone, we are live. Hi, good evening, Ashok sir. Hi. So we'll wait for 2-3 minutes for everyone to join in and then we'll begin with our class. Till then, you can ask away your doubts. Yes, Arshia, please ask. What doubt do you have? I'll just text in the Telegram group as well that we are live. Yes. No, CUET does not have any validity like that. If you have appeared in CUET for the year 2026, then you can only take admission in 2026. There's no validity as such. Hi, Divya. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to everyone. Hi, Saksh. From my end, the voice of the mic is to the full. I'll still give it a check for once. Okay, is my voice any better now? Is it louder? Wow, amazing, Divya. Congratulations to you. Let me know how it goes. Okay, so Arshia has asked her doubt that what is metaphysics? Okay, I'll let you know now. Wait, but when you talk about the concept of metaphysics, metaphysics actually deals with you being what is real, what is not real, how to target that. So for example, metaphysics. So when we talk about physics basically deals with everything and anything which is under the universe, the stars, the everything. So when we talk about metaphysics, we are analyzing everything which is there in the universe, right? So herein metaphysics deal with the question what is real, what is reality, okay, what are universes made up of. So it kind of asks philosophical questions like that. Okay, it talks about analyzing the universe. It talks about analyzing how the universe is functioning. For example, in physics you study ki how earth stays the way it stays. Okay, ki for example there is gravity, there are forces, etc. Metaphysics analyzes ki why something exists, what is real, what is unreal. Is it a, for example, sometimes we say maybe we are in a what do we say, ki there is a game which is going on and we are just a part of that, something like that. So metaphysics tries to analyze what is real, what is not real. Okay, everything that has to do with the universe, the why question, philosophical questions related to universe. I hope you are clear with what metaphysics is, Arshia. Yes, Arshia. What is a sense then? Dekho, when we talk about metaphysics asks the bigger question. A sense is basically when we are trying to understand, for example, when I talk about some sort of value like humility, like maybe some kind of emotion like jealousy. Okay. So essence basically tries to understand the core substance, why a person feels a certain way, what is the essence of that. For example, when you look at a chair, what is the essence behind it, the essential features behind it. So essence is just a tiny part. It's like metaphysics is a greater construct. Essence is just one way of studying that. Okay. Metaphysics asks about everything. Essence is just dealing with one aspect of the one feature of a construct, whether it is real, it is tangible, whether it has to do with some abstract existence, does it exist in ideas, does it exist in reality, questions like that. ठीक है, understood? Yes, Arshia, please ask away. Hi everyone, welcome to the class. Till Arshia types her doubt, if anybody else have any doubt so far, please let me know. I would be more than happy to solve your doubts, and then we will begin with today's class. Clear? Arshia, please type quickly. Everybody is waiting for you. Hi Stuti. Okay, so till Arshia types, I will move to the first PYQ. Okay, she has typed already. Yesterday we understood that Socrates is dualist, but he believed in tangible ideas only. Then how can he be a dualist? Look, duality means when he talks about essence, he is not saying that we only believe in tangible ideas. No, he said when we are reading about any concept, let me add another slide. When we talk about Socrates said that when we are analyzing the essence, what are the essential features, what are the core capacities of various concepts like God, like honesty, etc., then there is only some kind of physical existence which is to be considered. Okay, and this will be common to all. Okay, it will be shared by all. So the truth, the reality is shared by all. In that regard, he said there is no abstract existence of the concept. Okay, they exist in physicality. But elsewise, he also believes in ideas, he also believes in, some sort of tangibility, etc. You will see later. Dualism necessarily does not mean, when we talk about Socrates and Plato, they did not themselves say, I am a dualist, I am a monist. No. We analyze it on the basis of whatever theory that they have given. Okay, so on the basis of everything that they have talked about, we say that they are dualist. Okay, and we know Socrates via Plato. Okay, Socrates only orated his teachings. So in that regard, we say, after analyzing all the theories, that he is a dualist. Okay, not just based on single thing. Okay. All right, everyone. I hope I was able to clear your doubt. Okay, moving ahead, I hope all of you must have seen the spreadsheet that I've sent in the group. I've also linked the spreadsheet in the description of this video. You can check it out. You can open it once in your spreadsheet. There is an app named Sheets. I hope all of you have used that priorly. Right, so if you open that once, it will stay there. So I will keep on updating it. Do not download it. It will not be it will be accessed online itself. You will be able to see the latest updated version only if you keep it online in the app, right? So please see to that. I have also added the handouts, the notes of both the classes which have happened so far. I hope all of you are able to access that. Okay, I think it will be better for everyone if you have everything at one place, and it will be easier also to track your own progress, whether you have completed a class, whether you have missed a topic. I've also added whatever topics did we cover. So if you feel like I've not done a single topic or there is something that you missed, then please cover accordingly, right? All right, moving ahead, moving to the very first PYQs that we have. Please read the question carefully and type in when I say type in your answers. Please read, you have 10 seconds. It's a factual question. All right, everyone, please type in your answers. Okay, amazing, amazing. All of you have answered correctly. First psychological clinic was established at University of Pennsylvania. Who founded that lab? Who founded that clinic? Who was the person who founded that first psychological clinic? Please write down the name quickly. Very good. So, Littner Whitmer was the one who founded the first psychological lab at Pennsylvania. So, Littner Whitmer. Well done. Moving ahead to the second question. Please read the question carefully. Okay, everybody, please type in your answers. Very well done, everyone. Hippocrates was the person who, who said that any kind of imbalances of body humor will result in psychopathology or any kind of physical pathology as well. Hence, his theory is also known as somatogenetic theory. Okay, good enough. Moving ahead to third question. I think we did not discuss this in class yesterday. Hence, I have added this question. Look, Arshia, Hippocrates was the one who said that there will be, if these are the bodily fluids, I will move back to that slide. Okay. So, when we talk about Hippocrates, Hippocrates mentioned the 4 bodily fluids and said that any kind of imbalance will result in some kind of issues. Later on, when we talk about Galen actually attached it to temperament. So the basic idea of imbalance of humor was of Hippocrates itself. Okay. Moving ahead to third question. I think we did not discuss it in the class. Please try to answer it and then we will discuss this. Alright, everyone, please type in your answers. Yeah, all of you can take a guess. Try to make a guess. Okay. Okay, alright, let's read the question. So, A is the correct answer here. We discussed this particular name, James McKean Cattell, yesterday. If you remember, and I told you one fact, that fact has to do with another question, so I will not discuss it right now. But he basically founded this psychological corporation, I think in 1932. I'll check it. Okay, I'll check it later, but I think in 1932, and it had to do with testing, it had to do with psychometric analysis, etc. Okay, later on they also took into consideration some well reputed publication houses as well. Okay, so James McKean Cattell founded the psychological corporation, and him along with Galton. They were one of the very first name in the psychological testing field. Okay, moving ahead to the next question. I kind of gave away the answer, but please try to read it and solve. 1921. Okay. Okay, I'll rectify it here. Thank you so much. 1921. But I'll check it once. But as Ashok sir is saying, 1921, maybe it's 1921. Alright everyone, please type in your answers. Alright, a lot of you have typed in, 2 of you have typed in. Everybody please try to attempt. Hmm, 1921 is the correct answer for the previous psychological cooperation. So, James McKean Cattell was the person who firstly coined the term mental test. I think I've discussed it in yesterday's class as well. Some have confused between Raymond B. Cattell and James McKean Cattell. James McKean Cattell is has to do with mental testing, ability testing, and he was the first person in the field. Raymond B. Cattell has to do with personality theory and personality testing. Okay, Alfred Binet, we know, one of the first IQ testing, and Sir Francis Bacon, we will be reading about him today. Also, he is kind of the founder of modern science, the experimentation method, how to be objectively observe, how to objectively observe the nature and surrounding around us, etc. Right, so these were the 4 PYQs. Moving ahead to today's class. So in yesterday's class we discussed about 2 of the major philosophers in the pre-scientific era. We discussed about Hippocrates. Then the 2 philosophers that I'm talking about are Socrates and Plato. We read that both Socrates and Plato are dualists. They are both rationalists. They believe that we can get to any kind of knowledge through reasoning. Okay, even Plato gave some other theories as well, not really theories, ideas as well. He also talked about the divided line theory, theory of forms, etc. You do not need to do most of the theories. Stuti, I'm not aware, I don't think so they are related. So when you talk about that, both of these philosophers, you will see that their thought process are kind of similar, because Plato majorly recorded both the works. Plato also talked about essences like Socrates, right? Socrates used the term essence, whereas Plato used the term form, right? Remember that, theory of form. Okay, there are a lot more philosophy. They have done so much work in philosophy, but I think that's whatever we have read tomorrow, that's more than enough for your CUET and NET exam as well. Okay, you do not need to go into much more depth. Okay, so now we will be reading about Aristotle. So Aristotle was actually Plato's student. Okay, so Socrates' student was Plato and Plato's student was Aristotle. But remember this, Aristotle did not quite agreed with the ideas of Socrates and Plato. Okay, let's read about Aristotle. Aristotle, as I said, he was a student of Plato, but he was a monist. So remember, if you have to remember it, remember Socrates, and Plato have similar thought processes, so they are both dualist and rationalist. But when we talk about Aristotle, Aristotle is a monist. Okay? Aristotle is a monist and he's a empiricist. He believes in sensory experiences, whereas when we talked about Plato yesterday, Plato was more interested in reasoning. He was more interested in ideation. He was more interested in metaphysical existence, etc. Whereas Aristotle is a philosophical empiricist, which means that whatever knowledge that is there, we can use our five senses which are there and we can attain any type of knowledge, right? And if you remember, yesterday I said that Socrates used the method of inductive reasoning, right? So as I said, Aristotle negated mostly everything which was said by Socrates and Plato. So he said that no, we will be using deductive approach, right? What do we do in deductive approach? We start with a general belief and we move to a specific idea, right? Even today we use hypothetico-deductive reasoning, right? It is way advanced than that of the deductive approach, but we will read about it in upcoming classes, right? And he used the term unscribed tablet. If you remember, initially when we were very little kids, there used to be a slate. Okay, if you will ask your parents, even I'm not that old, but if you will ask your parents, they used to have that kind of a slate which they used to जैसे बोलते लेपते थे वो उसको daily before going to the class, and they used to write it down, then again they used to make it for the another class and so on, right? So he said that our mind, the way we are like an unscribed tablet. It means a tablet which has not been used yet. We have not scribbled anything on that slate or a tablet. If you remember, I hope you must have read about the word tabula rasa, blank slate. Who all have heard about the term tabula rasa? Have you heard about that? John Locke, tabula rasa. So this term is quite relatable to that. We can say that he gave the term unscribed tablet way before tabula rasa, but we kind of give more credit to John Locke for that. Okay? So in his treatise De Anima, which basically means on the soul, he said that we are like unscribed tablet. We are like the slate which has not been scribbled upon yet, and with the help of our five senses we can gain all the kind of knowledge which is there in the world. Now, even though Aristotle was an empiricist, but he said that we cannot totally negate rationalism. He said that both rationalism and empiricism should be used for our reasoning. Whatever experience that you gain from your environment, we should basically reason everything, right? So as you can see, whatever knowledge that you are gaining from the for example, I will add a slide. For example, there's this butterfly. Okay? So you will see that the butterfly is going to they are going to flap the wings that they have, right? This is something that you have experienced. Okay? You have actually seen. Now there will be a reasoning for that. Now you will say maybe they do it for some kind of survival instinct. Maybe they do it because it helps them to fly. Maybe it helps them to collect some kind of nectar. Maybe it helps to helps in pollination of plant, leading to better things in our environment, etc., etc. Okay? So he is saying that we should keep our reasoning intact. Okay? There can be times that you can be deluded. There can be times that you can fetch wrong information through your experience as well. Okay? But you should keep your reasoning intact. Reasoning should be there, and this reasoning should be then backed up by our experience. Clear? So even though we have even though he's a philosophical empiricist, but he says that rationalism is important, being reasonable is important, we should have our reasoning attained before we actually furbish it later via our experiences. Okay, Stuti, I will clear this doubt. Ek second, I'll add another slide. So bacha, when we say BC, it basically refers to before Christ. Okay, so the year in which Christ was born, they are moving in reverse. So 1 BC basically means 1 year before Christ, 2 BC 2 years before Christ, 3 BC. That is why it is like that. I hope you are able to understand now ki why ki 384 comes before 322, because 384 represents 384 years before Christ was born and 322 years. So in that manner. Okay, I hope you are clear on to that. Chalo, okay. Now moving ahead. So he embraced both rationalism and empiricism. Okay, now we will kind of try to contrast both Plato and Aristotle. If you remember yesterday, I contrasted Socrates and Plato. Socrates, Plato and Aristotle. Okay, wait, I'll just separate this. Okay, so if you remember, we contrasted Socrates and Plato on the basis of essence or forms. Okay, so Socrates also believed in form or the meaning of the concepts, the essential features of the concept. Plato also believed in that, and Aristotle somewhat also believed in that. Okay, now we talked about abstract existence. Okay, everyone please tell me, did Socrates believed in abstract existence? Anybody? Yes or no? Did Socrates believe in abstract existence of the essence? No. Very good. Okay? No. But Plato believed in the abstract existence of the essence, and so did Aristotle. Okay? But both of their ways were different. Okay? Plato believed in the metaphysical existence. He believed there can be multiple, there can be multiple forms of a particular object, of a particular concept. He believed more in ideas. But Aristotle relies more on experience. He says that whenever we experience something, for example, when you look at this particular butterfly, the form or the essence of this butterfly is going to be exemplified or exaggerated by your senses or your experience. Okay, so for Aristotle, experience matters a lot. He says that if we want to understand the essence or we want to understand the form, when we want to understand the reality, we need to take into consideration the experience that we are doing. Okay, that is why he is a philosophical empiricist. Okay, so here in this next slide, you can see everything that we have discussed so far. Both of them, Plato and Aristotle, are interested in abstract existence, which goes beyond the mere appearance of things, and both of the nature is kind of different. Okay? Plato believes that we can, get to the essence by the metaphysical idea of that, metaphysicality, ideation of that. But Aristotle believes that we need to take into consideration the nature, we need to take into consideration the experience, the, individual manifestation of a principle, of a phenomena, of a concept or an object. Clear? I hope you are able to understand this. Essence of beta, essence and form are different. It is not essence of form, it is essence or R है वो, ठीक है, or essence or form. So essence and form mean the same thing, ठीक है, but Socrates used the term essence and Plato used the term form. ठीक है, but they are essentially the same thing, they mean the same thing. I hope everybody is clear on to that. Everybody understands the basic philosophical understanding, the basic philosophical construct of Aristotle, how Socrates, Plato and Aristotle are different. Clear? If you are clear, please give a thumbs up or type in yes, then we will move ahead. Clear? All right, moving ahead. So Socrates also, what do we say? Aristotle also gave another theory like causes. Okay, so we will first of all look at this particular theory, and then I will explain you one philosophy which is attached to that. Okay, as you can see this picture, there is this, I don't know, what do we say, sculptor is there, and the sculptor is trying to create a sculpture, right? So he says that whatever in the nature is there, everything which exists in nature, there are 4 causes of that. The first cause is the material cause. Material cause has to do with the substance. So whether this sculpture is going to be made up of Sangmarmar, whether it will be made up of some kind of limestone, etc. Okay, so this material cause has to do with the substance, the matter which a thing is made up of. Then we have a formal cause. Formal cause has to do with the idea. So before the sculptor actually forms this sculpture, they have this idea ki, okay, I'm going to make it like this. There will be a basic idea. This is how I will create that. The face will be round or oval, they will be this heighted, etc. So there is already a ideation, there is already a particular pattern, a particular form which is there in the person's mind. It has to do with the idea, the form of the object or the pattern that will be followed by the object. Then comes the efficient cause. Efficient cause is like karta hai. The one who will get it to the end, the one who will convert this material to the final cause. Convert it to the final cause. क्या होगा, किस लिए यूज होगा, and at last final cause is the output and how the output will be used. So this this whatever sculpture they are making, it will be later on put up maybe in a museum, and it will be shown there to people. It represents something, right? So according to Aristotle, there are these 4 causes for everything which is there in nature. Everything in the nature follows these 4 causes: material cause, formal cause, efficient cause, who is the transformer, who is the karta, and at last the final cause, the purpose. Why are we doing something? The output, what will it lead to? Now these particular 4 causes shed attention to the philosophy of teleology, which means that everything in nature has a purpose. Now this purpose might not be realized This person purpose might not be, consciously adopted by the various objects which are there, but there is a purpose or a aim for everything in nature. Clear? So this is the construct of the philosophy of teleology. Teleology is a belief that everything which exists in the nature, it has a purpose. Might not be consciously understandable, might not be the conscious intention of the person also, but there will be a purpose of everything and everybody. Stuti, the method of Aristotle is experience. Okay, clear with everyone? I hope everybody understands what is teleology. Yes, no, something. Clear? Okay. Moving ahead. There is another terminology which is attached to it, which is ontology. Okay? Ontology is basically that every individual, we know the teleology aspect that everything has a purpose. Now ontology is the built-in function of the person, that they will want to achieve their full potential. Okay, so it is like the motivation, you can say that everybody, for example, there is this toy. Okay, now the purpose of this toy is to make the kids happy, or maybe help them in their sensory motor development, help them in their perceptual reasoning, etc, etc. Okay, so it is going to have a purpose, which means teleology. Okay, teleology. Okay, now ontology is that everything which has a purpose, it will want to attain their full potential. For example, if the full potential of the toy is to make the development of a kid better, make engage them for some time, or maybe make them happy, etc. So it will want to move to that purpose. It is that motivation. Ontology will keep things going. It will influence the person to move in the best direction, to be of their full potential, to reach their full potential. Okay, so we understand that Aristotle said that everything which exists in nature, it has 4 causes: material cause, formal cause, efficient cause, and at last final cause. Final cause has to do with the purpose of existence. It has to do with why something exists. And so Aristotle believes in the philosophy of teleology, which means that everything which exists, it is going to have a purpose. Clear? Are you able to differentiate between ontology and teleology? Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Now we will move ahead to the next concept by Aristotle. So Aristotle also gave hierarchy of souls. Okay. So he said that there are 3 kinds of soul in the universe. First is vegetative soul, which is which governs the plants. So their sole purpose is going to be reproduction and growth, development, just that. Then the soul which has a better, the second better soul is going to be sensitive soul, which governs the animals. Now along with reproduction and growth, they will also be able to sense some pain. They will be able to feel pleasure. They will be able to mobilize as well. Okay, then the third and the supreme soul is rational soul, which governs the humans, and in addition to the features which are found in vegetative soul and sensitive soul, they would also be indulged, they would also be able to indulge in rational thought, reasoning, reflection, deduction, induction as well. Okay, so that's about all the theories which have been given by Aristotle. Aristotle is a philosophical empiricist. Aristotle has talked about the four causes. He, even though he's a philosophical empiricist, but he also gave importance to rationalism. He said that we need to, employ our mind. We need to use our reasoning before we actually indulge into experience. Okay, so he embraced both deconstruct rationalism as well as empiricism, and he was a monist. He used the deductive approach, and he gave two theories. He gave way more. He also talked about reasoning, which was very much analogous to the divided line theory given by Plato. Okay, you can, if you are interested in philosophy, you can go ahead and you can read about all these philosophical concepts. Okay, but that's what is important for CUET PG. It is actually way more, it is more than enough that you need to know about all of that. Okay, so I hope you understand why Aristotle believes in teleology, why his theory is kind of related to ontology, and the kind of souls that he has talked about. If all of you are clear, then we will move ahead to our next topic. Clear? Yes, no, something? Yes. All right, moving ahead to our next topic. So this is the description. You can go ahead and read later. So now that we have discussed about pre-scientific era. Wait, let me add some slide. So in pre-scientific era, we have discussed about Hippocrates, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Okay, so in this era we can see that people were more interested to explore. There were, these people were interested in the metaphysical ideas. They wanted to understand reality, how people function, what are their core element, what are they made up of, what is the cause of existence, purpose, how to gain knowledge, how to understand essence of the concepts, etc. Then we move to Middle Age. Okay, now what happened in Middle Age? People got more interested in religion again. As if you remember yesterday, I said that Socrates was exiled. Okay, at that time people did not used to embrace the philosophers. They were not embracing the newer ideas which were coming up at that time. They were like, no, we should stick to our religion. You are going beyond our religion. It is not about that. Everything has to do with that. Okay, so in Middle Age there was kind of some beliefs which were kind of getting deformed, not fully, but kind of getting deformed. People were switching more to religion. There were more religious constructs which were coming into existence, etc. So I've added few terminology that you need to remember related to Middle Ages. First of all, Occam's razor. If you remember, I mentioned this in yesterday's class as well. Occam's razor is basically whatever happens. For example, if your friend did not turn up for the party that you are hosting, so there are going to be multiple explanation of that. Okay, I'll add another slide. Okay, so what is the issue? Friend not turning up for your party. Okay, now there are going to be multiple explanations for that. ठीक है, explanation A, B, C, D. First explanation could be maybe they are not well, ठीक है, maybe something happened, ठीक है. Second explanation might be they are not interested, ठीक है. Third might be they forgot that there is a party today. Fourth might be they hate us, they are not really our friends, it was all a facade, ठीक है. So there can be multiple alternative explanations for having one belief or for one issue which is there, right? So Occam Razor basically says that we should go for the belief which is the simplest and which makes the fewest assumptions, ठीक है. So herein you can see in all of these explanation we are making some assumptions, ठीक है. We are seeing कि okay, maybe this might have happened given this, given that, etc. So we should go for the simplest explanation which makes the fewest assumption. It is the Occam's razor. So Occam razor base is the belief that whenever we have alternative explanation for something, we should go for the one, we should accept the one which makes the fewest assumption and is the simplest of all. Clear? I hope you understand. Yes, most easy reason, easiest possible explanation which makes the least kind of assumptions. ठीक है. Stuti has asked, entelechy is to reach that purpose. Yes, entelechy is to reach that purpose to the full length. For example, if somebody wants to become a astronaut, or maybe if somebody wants to become a scientist, so full potential might be to work for ISRO or to work for NASA or to work for something like that, ठीक है. So that is the full potential. Okay, now moving ahead to the second terminology, which is skepticism. We generally use this term in English. I am a little skeptic, I am not sure, I don't know if that's true or not, etc. We use that term. So skepticism basically believes that we should not for example, if I take the same example now for skepticism, ठीक है. So skepticism says that all these explanation will be wrong till proven right, ठीक है, till proven right. So the person will be actually saying कि no, everything is false till they are proven right, ठीक है. Now why would people believe in skepticism? Because they think that we want to clear ourselves of the frustration of being wrong. Hence we will think that everything is false till I am made to believe that it is true, till I am given proper evidence that it is true. There are people like that in our surroundings also related to that, कि yes, they feel generally कि नहीं, everything is false. They would not believe until you give them some solid evidence, ठीक है. That is a skeptic. Clear? What is skepticism? Moving ahead to the next terminology, stoicism, ठीक है. Stoicism basically, stoics actually came up there, ठीक है, during the Middle Ages. The stoics basically said that we should live according to nature's plan and accept our fate, ठीक है. For example, कि whenever we are faced with any kind of difficulty in our life, any kind of hardship in our life, we should accept our fate, we should keep courage, or we should ignore it, but accept it, ठीक है. So stoics believe in nature's plan, they accept the fate whatever they have. Now they can be completely ignorant of what is happening to them. Now they can use the courage, they can be like, no, I am strong, I will face this, etc. But live according to the nature's plan, however nature is guiding you, however whatever your faith is. Clear? There are other terminologies as well that I will mention here. One is Epicureans, ठीक है. तो Epicureans basically believed in happiness no matter what, go with the flow, whatever is happening, be happy. Okay, so that is the belief of Epicureans. Go with the flow, be happy, nothing is wrong, life is, you will only live once, be happy, be sure, go out there, enjoy with life, etc. Okay, then we also have cynics. Okay, cynical is also one term that we use a lot in English. Yes, Tuti, like somewhat like hedonism. Okay, somewhat like maximizing the pleasure, be happy, try to be happy whenever. Okay, somewhat like that. Okay, so when we talk about cynics basically believe that everybody is selfish. Okay, cynics believe that everybody is selfish. Okay, no matter what. For example, there is a person in class. I'll add another slide and explain it to you. For example, there is this person A, okay, and he has 4 friends named maybe Stanley, maybe okay, some XYZ, ABC. These are the 3 friends, and then there are other people also who are there. Okay, so this person A, if this person is a cynic, they will be distrusting. They'll be like, no, I don't trust anybody, nobody is trustworthy. Why? Because everybody is selfish, everybody is jealous, everybody is full of hate. Okay, so that is the belief of cynic. They believe that do not trust people. Why? Because the world is full of hate, the world is very jealous, they would not want you to win, etc. Okay, so they will kind of be skeptic of the society. They kind of think that they are better. There is kind of a semi-partial relationship between being cynical and being a narcissist also. Okay, so that's about the terminologies which are associated with kind of, you can say, negative thinking. Ki they are so distrustful of other people. Okay, clear? I hope all of you are clear with these terminologies related to Middle Ages. We have read about Occam's razor. Please go for the simplest explanation, which makes the fewest assumptions. Skepticism believes, please think that everything is false before it is proven right. Okay, because they want to avoid being wrong. For example, okay, if there is a person who is a skeptic, so if there is medicine A, medicine B, medicine C, okay, so they'll be like, no, maybe they do not work. Okay, because they are so afraid that they can be proven wrong. If they took medicine, something might happen, there can be a side effect, etc. So they'll be like, no, I will believe that everything is false until unless I am given some good efficacy based study that these works. Okay, are we good to go? Are we good to move to the next era? Okay, moving ahead to the next era. Now after Renaissance, after Middle Age comes the Renaissance period. Renaissance basically means rebirth. So as I said, in the Middle Ages, there were more people who were interested in religion. People were, there were few philosophies which came up during that time. But most of the, time it was about religious belief, being spiritual, going back to the basics, nature, etc. Now, in the Renaissance period, everybody wanted to go back to being, open-minded, going back to being, curious about the surrounding. There was increased interest in the surrounding, etc. Again. They wanted to discover again. They wanted to go back to the era of Socrates, wherein they wanted to believe in, knowing thyself, in, experiencing everything which is there. Okay? So in the Renaissance period, there were four major themes which were there. There were more interest in humanism. People were more interested in human beings. They wanted to live a kinder way. They wanted to experience who are people, who are humans, why do we exist, what do we do, etc. Okay? So there were four major themes in that era. First being individualism. Okay? Interest in oneself. Personal religion. People used to believe in religion. People were still kind of, getting driven by the religious belief, but they were like, it can be a little modified according to me, what I can follow, what can be right, what seems right to me. For example, I recently saw this one reel which said that we are selective sinners, that we are comfortable with few sins that we commit, and we negate, or we are uncomfortable with the sins that other commit. So it is somewhat like that, the sense of personal religion. Then interest in the past, reading what happened, why it happened, why we were behaving a certain way, how we were during Stone Age, how it led to the time when we created some weapons, etc. It was anti-Aristotelian. Okay? So anti-Aristotelianism is less interested in the ideas of Aristotle and going back to the era of Socrates, wherein they were interested in knowing oneself, inductive reasoning, exploring things from a specific idea to the general idea. These were the major themes which were characterizing the Renaissance humanism which was there. Okay? So first of all, we will be reading about a philosopher named Francis Bacon in this era. So now, when we talk about Francis Bacon came around the Renaissance era, and he wanted to study the world objectively. He said, I want to be free of any misconception of the past, what happened before, what is the theory which is there. For example, if I want to understand the cause and effect of something. For example, earlier maybe, there were some theory. No, Ayushi, it is still Renaissance period. They were there around Renaissance period. Bacon and Rene Descartes. We will read them both in Renaissance. Okay? So during that, coming back to Francis Bacon, he was more interested to study the objectivity of the things, objectivity of certain events, certain phenomena which are happening. He said, I do not want to believe in what theory which was given before, what experiment which was done before. The past is past. Now let's see if we can replicate that. Okay, let's see if I can establish that now again. So for example, this is an example. This is not what Bacon did. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so if I want to see the cause and effect, there was rain and then came the rainbow. Okay, so he was like, maybe in previous era there were people who used to say rainbow is the blessing from the universe, etc. He said, no, I'll not believe in that. Then he said, I will observe it myself. I will observe it with the help of experimentation. So during his time, the formal idea of modern sciences came into being. The formal idea of experimentation came into being, which can be replicated. Okay? For example, if I want to see how rain turns into rainbow, it will be similar to everybody. So if anybody uses the research design that I used, the methodology that I used, everybody can replicate that idea. Hence, he is also known as the founder of modern science. Okay? And he said that there should be a inductive and practical science which is free from the past. He said we should only trust the direct observation and recording of nature. Okay? So he said that the supreme is observation. The most important authority in science is to be given to observation. If I can observe something, you can observe something, our observations are similar in nature, then it will be correct. Okay? Hence we call him as a radical empiricist as well. As radical basically means traditional. Okay? So empiricists do what? Empiricists believe in which knowledge? Experiential based. When we are doing observation, what are we doing? We are experiencing, right? Hence we say that he was also a radical empiricist. He also wanted to study things objectively, and he is known as the founder of modern science. And his approach to science is known as positivism. I will explain it in another side. What is positivism? Okay. So positivism is actually one of the paradigm of research, or we can say paradigm of knowledge. How we gain knowledge. We are going to discuss various paradigms of knowledge after we are done with the philosophers in this unit. Yeah, I think in this unit itself we will be learning about that. So whenever we are learning the paradigm of knowledge, we take into consideration various aspects. Okay? We take into consideration the ontology. Ontology is basically what is real. Okay? Don't go, if you do not understand this portion right now, it's fine, we will do it in way more detail later. Okay? And we need to take into consideration the epistemology. Epistemology is how are we studying what is real. Okay? So positivism is an approach which is going to be realist, which means it will be similar for everyone and it will be objective in nature. Okay? It means that if I am conducting an experiment, it will be 100% correct. Okay? If I conducted this experiment that I took rain, then the rays of sunlight reflected from that, it is 100% correct. So Francis Bacon did not give any scope of mistake. He said that whatever we can observe, whatever we can come to, whatever we are concluding with the help of observation, it is 100% correct. That is what positivism stands for. We will read it in much more detail later, but for now just understand that it deals with realism, which means there is only one truth and it is objective in nature. I hope you are able to understand and relate with what is positivism, the core or the concrete idea of what is positivism at least. Clear? If you have any query anywhere, please ask me. Yes, no, okay. So we can say that Bacon is like a ray of hope now. He is kind of the founder of modern science. He has put forward that we should be objective in nature. We should use experimentation. We should use observation. We should use direct observation. And he was also a dualist and obviously a radical empiricist. Okay? Are we good to go? Yes, correct, Stuti. Positivism means realism is one reality. That there is one reality. For example, if I am observing something, Ayushi is observing something, Stuti is observing something, it will be one. It will be true. Okay? It will be one. One reality is basically realism. एक ही सच है. One true is there. Okay? And it is objective. It is same for all. No, I'm not in airport, but airport is very nearby, so we can actually hear planes flying. There is actually, we also have a railway station very nearby to us, so we hear both plane as well as rails. So yeah. Okay, so that's majorly about it. If you have any query in whatsoever we have discussed so far, please let me know, then we will move ahead further. Clear? Yes, no, something? Clear. ठीक है. Very proud of you. ठीक है. Now we will be reading about Rene Descartes. If you remember, I used Rene Descartes name before also. Where did I use that? In which philosophical construct did we read about Rene Descartes? Where did I say that Rene Descartes is that? Anybody remembers? Interactionism. Very good, Stuti. Well done. ठीक है. So Rene Descartes, Divya, I think I'll just take 2 more minutes and then we will wrap up. I'll just introduce Rene Descartes and then we'll go into detail tomorrow. Okay. So, Rene Descartes was a French philosopher. He is related to the dualist perspective of interactionism, which means that mind and body both exist and they interact with each other. ठीक है. So mind and body are separate, they are both different, but they communicate with each other, and he was the one who gave this quote, cogito ergo sum. You must have seen a lot of psychology students put it in their bio, but he is the one who actually quoted this. It means I think, therefore I am capable of thinking, hence I exist. ठीक है. And he also put into consideration the innate ideas. It means that he was also a nativist. He means we are born with all the ideas that we are ever going to have. And if you must have heard, a lot of scientists like Einstein, they used to believe in the construct of God. So did Rene Descartes. Rene Descartes believed that even though we are born with all the ideas, they are placed in our mind by God. ठीक है. So we also, when we are little infant, we understand the simple ideas. We will understand everything at our prime time. ठीक है. Everything at the right time. ठीक है. So that is the basic idea of Rene Descartes. Tomorrow we will elaborate it in detail कि how he said कि mind and body are separate and connected, and the other constructs that he used. ठीक है. So that's it for today's class. If you have any doubt anywhere, please ask away and then we will wrap up our class. Clear? All right, everyone. Well done. I think today's class was also a little heavy. I think coming 2 or 3 classes will also be a little heavy on philosophy, because we are reading about philosophers, of course, but as we move forward, you will be able to sustain it. You will need some revision, especially if you are reading about these philosophers and these philosophies for the first time. But yes, gradually you will ace all these philosophers and you will remember it with time. Also, I would give you all one suggestion, that there are a lot of philosophers. ठीक है. So the way I remember it, I will tell you that you can remember it that ways. I keep the timeline in mind. ठीक है. So I keep it in mind that Socrates came first. Socrates' students was Plato. Plato's students were Aristotle. Plato was a very dedicated, devoted student, so most of their ideas are similar. As Aristotle's ideas are completely different. Hence, it also helps me remember कि okay, if they are dualist, he will be a monist. If they are rationalist, he will be an empiricist. So if you create a timeline in your mind like this, it will become easier. ठीक है. Stuti, ma'am, GATE syllabus does not include this. It is not in the syllabus. Stuti, it's not mentioned in the syllabus. GATE does not ask a lot of questions related to philosophies directly, but you should be knowing that essentially. ठीक है, but later after I think we will be having one more class, two more class which are philosophy driven. Then we will move towards the establishment of school. As you can see, we are moving ahead. हमने प्री साइंटिफिक एरा से स्टार्ट किया, then we move to मिडल एजेस में क्या था, then अब रेनेसांस पीरियड में है. Once we move to the modern ideas से सारी चीज़ें गेट के एग्जाम में आती हैं. ठीक है, सो आई थिंक इट इज़ जस्ट अ मैटर ऑफ वन क्लास. उसके बाद एवरीथिंग इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, एवरीथिंग विच यू नीड टू नो. एम्पिरिसिस्ट कौन थे, हु वाज जॉन लॉकी एट्सेट्रा. अभी तक तो गेट में वैसे एज सच डायरेक्ट फिलोसफिकल क्वेश्चन नहीं आया है, बट इट इज़ लाइकली. आयुषी मैम, फ्रॉम वेयर वी कैन प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस बेस्ड ऑन फिलोसफर्स. देखो, फिलोसफर्स से वैसे इतने डिटेल्ड क्वेश्चन नहीं आते. हमने काफ़ी डिटेल में किया है कि हमें याद रहे. आई डिड नॉट जस्ट टेल यू कि व्हाट इज ये मोनिस्ट है, ये डुअलिस्ट है. आई ऑल्सो गिवन यू सम थ्योरीज. ठीक है, कि ये थ्योरी दी है इसलिए ये सोचते हैं. दैट इज़ देयर वे ऑफ थिंकिंग. नेट में ज़्यादा डिटेल में आती है ये सब चीज़ें जो आपको आनी चाहिए. अदरवाइज यू डू नॉट नीड टू गो इन टू दैट मच डिटेल. प्रैक्टिस करनी हो तो देयर इज़ नो वन बुक दैट आई कैन गिव यू, बट आई विल ट्राई कि हम जब हम ये फिलोसफीज खत्म करेंगे तो हम एक क्लास करें जहाँ पे जितने भी PYQs या प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन, आई विल ब्रिंग अबाउट 50-60 क्वेश्चंस. जितने भी हमने अभी फिलोसफर्स की बात की है, जितने भी क्वेश्चन बन सकते हैं हम वो सारे कर लें उस क्लास में. ठीक है, तो वो क्लास के बीच में ही करेंगे आई थिंक. सो दैट विल मे बी हेल्प यू ऑल. बट मैं एक बुक का नाम तो नहीं दे सकती जहाँ पे डिवाइडेड हो. आई थिंक पावर विद इन की बुक में यूनिट वाइज डिवाइडेड है, बट फिलोसफर का अकेले आई डोंट नो. ठीक है, that's about it. Thank you so much everyone. It was an amazing class. We learned about some difficult topics. We learned about philosophies put forward by Aristotle. We read about our middle ages, various terminologies related to that. We read about the Renaissance period. We read about Francis Bacon, and we also were introduced to the ideas of Rene Descartes. Tomorrow we will begin with Rene Descartes and the British empiricism era, and that's about it. How to get Book of Power Within. If you want a physical copy, you can go and check out on Amazon. If you want to have a soft copy, I think somebody must have that, and then you can maybe ask in the group. I'll ask in the group if somebody has the soft copy. बट वैसे वो इलीगल बात है. यू शुड बाय द फिजिकल कॉपी और यू शुड बाय द बुक ऑन योर ओन, क्योंकि वो पायरेसी है. ठीक है, सो ही इज आस्किंग मैम आपका PhD थीसिस क्या है. इट इज़ रिलेटेड टू कॉग्निटिव साइकोलॉजी. बाकी डिटेल में हम कभी और अच्छे से बात करेंगे. ठीक है, सो या दैट्स अबाउट इट फॉर टुडे. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन. बाय बाय. इट वाज अ अमेजिंग क्लास. टेक केयर. सी यू.